Hello again. Today, I have another story for you. It's about a time I traveled, not for a holiday, but to help. This was a trip that was supposed to be simple and fulfilling, but it turned into a difficult lesson about cultural differences and unexpected trouble. If you have ever thought about working abroad, this story will show you how quickly things can change. I had been planning this for almost a year, and I believed I was ready for anything. Chapter 1: The Decision and the Long Road. This story began 4 years ago. I had always wanted to be a volunteer. I wanted to do something meaningful, something more important than my daily job. I found a project in a small, warm country in South America. The project involved teaching basic English to children who were living in a quiet, rural area. This specific area was known for its beautiful landscape, but also for its poverty. I was excited to step outside my comfort zone. My preparation was meticulous. I read books about the country's history and researched local customs. I knew I would need to be patient. I bought a stronger backpack and lightweight clothing. I made sure I had informed my family exactly where I was going to be. I should have also studied more of the local language, Spanish, but I only knew a few polite phrases. My journey was very long. I remember feeling exhausted after the final bus ride, but I was full of excitement. I arrived in the small village as the sun was setting. The heat was much stronger than I had expected. The village was completely different from the city I had just left. There were small wooden houses and unpaved roads. The people were friendly, but they spoke very little English. I was trying to communicate with the project manager, a kind woman named Maria, but it was difficult because my Spanish was very basic. Maria showed me to my small old house. It didn't have hot water, and the internet connection was often slow. This was not a problem for me because I had expected a simple life. The only thing I was worrying about was the language barrier. I knew I must learn quickly if I wanted to help the children effectively. Chapter 2: Daily Life and the Unexpected Incident. Life in the village was slower and more relaxed than my life at home. I was teaching the children every morning. We spent our afternoons playing simple games in the dusty yard. The children were enthusiastic and always smiling. I enjoyed the work immensely. They were teaching me Spanish words, and I was teaching them English phrases. By the end of the first week, I had learned many new local customs and simple words. I got used to the rhythm of the village. I was feeling very comfortable. I had started to think that the biggest challenges were behind me. One evening, I returned to my little house after dinner at Maria's. The sky was turning a deep purple color. I felt tired but happy. I reached for my pocket to open the door, but the key wasn't there. I searched all my pockets once, then twice. I looked inside my small backpack. I had been carrying the key with me all day, so I knew I had not left it in the house. My heart started beating faster. I had to find that key. I walked back to Maria's house, which was about a 20-minute walk along a dark path. When I arrived, Maria was surprised to see me. I explained to her, using gestures and the few Spanish words I knew, that my key was missing. Maria looked deeply concerned. She told me that the house door could not be left unlocked overnight in that area. If someone finds your key, Maria told me with a serious face, they will know exactly where you live. The situation was suddenly much more serious than just being locked out. I realized that I had underestimated the importance of such a small thing. I wished I had put the key on a strong chain. Chapter 3: Searching in the Dark and the Growing Doubt. We immediately returned to my house, and Maria helped me search. We were walking slowly along the path where I had walked earlier. It was completely dark now, and we were using the dim light from my small phone. The ground was uneven, and it was difficult to see anything small. We looked everywhere. We checked the dry grass, under the bushes, and next to the wooden fences. I was feeling terrible. I knew that if we didn't find it, the project manager would have to find a way to change the lock very early the next morning. While we were searching, Maria started asking me about my day. She asked if I had shown any of the children my house or my belongings. I told her I had not. Then she asked about the new boy who had started class only yesterday. She mentioned that he had been very quiet and had seemed quite nervous. Maria explained that the boy's family had just moved to the area from a much poorer region. She was suggesting that maybe he had seen the key fall and had kept it because he didn't understand the problem, or perhaps because he was tempted. I didn't want to believe it. I had trusted all the children I had been teaching, but I couldn't deny that it was a strong possibility. I felt a terrible conflict between my generous nature and my fear. Maria said that if the boy had taken the key, we must speak to his family right away. We could not leave the house unlocked overnight. We had to walk further now because the boy's family lived on the outskirts of the village. Chapter 4: The Confrontation and the Simple Truth. It was late when we arrived at the boy's small shack. It was located further away, near a small field. The boy's mother opened the door. She looked tired and surprised to see us standing there in the darkness. Maria spoke to her in Spanish for several minutes. I was standing nervously outside, watching the boy, who was looking down at his feet. Maria explained that the boy's mother was sad to hear that the key was missing. She said her son had not taken it. Maria looked at me. I didn't know who to believe. I felt that I should have believed the boy immediately, but the danger was too real. Just as we were preparing to leave, the boy finally moved. He said something quietly in Spanish to his mother and ran inside. He returned a moment later with something small and shiny in his hand. It was the key, but it was attached to a piece of string around his neck. He explained that he had seen the key fall near the river where I had been sitting during my lunch break. He had tried to follow me to return it, but I was walking too fast. Because he couldn't find my house and because he knew it must be important, he had tied the key to his own necklace to make sure it would be safe until the morning, when he could give it to me at school. He didn't understand that the lost key was a serious problem for me in the dark. I felt terrible. I had doubted the child and his family only because they were poor and new to the village. My assumption had been completely wrong. I should not have judged them so quickly. I felt more shame now than fear. Chapter 5: The Deeper Lesson and a New Respect. I apologized to the mother and the boy. My Spanish was still bad, but my sincerity was clear. We walked back to my house. The boy had saved my evening and perhaps my safety through his simple, honest action. Maria told me later that she was glad we had learned a lesson about trust. She said that if I was going to live here happily, I would have to put aside my city thoughts and assumptions about people. I knew she was right. That night, I felt a new and deeper respect for the community. The key had been lost for a while, but my trust had been found and strengthened. I realized that poverty does not mean a person is less honest. The boy was more honest than I had been with my quick, unfair judgment. I was determined to be a better person. From that day on, my life in the village was much better. I was working harder on my Spanish, and I was smiling more because I felt a true connection with the people. I knew I would always remember the boy who taught me about true, simple honesty. It has been a turning point in my life, and I have never forgotten the feeling of relief and shame I felt that night. It was a tough way to learn, but I'm thankful for the experience. So that was my volunteer adventure. It was not the simple, easy experience I had imagined, but it was 1,000 times more valuable. It has shown me that the world is full of good people, and we must be careful not to judge quickly. I hope you have enjoyed this journey with me. This experience has proved that a small lost key can teach a huge life lesson. What is the biggest lesson you have ever learned from a simple mistake? Have you ever judged a situation quickly and then realized you were wrong? If you want to hear more real life adventures and practice your English, please remember to subscribe to our podcast. Give this episode a like if you found the story interesting, and share it with your friends who are also learning English. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.